Okay, the question is, do you recall a time in your life when you, perhaps in retrospect, been part of the patriarchal culture, and how did that benefit or harm you?
Yeah, so one really good example in that was when I started dating for the first time. And then I have to explain that I wasn't 16 or 17. This was already in my 30s. I'd been in a very long relationship during my entire 20s. So I was 31 or 32 years old and started dating and was like, oh, help, how does that work? So that's the time that I started to ask advice from people, from especially women, but also from men. Like, okay, so how does it work? What do you do? What is considered normal? What is expected? And that turned out to be a really strange world for me. That really went against my gut feeling, against who I am as a sensitive man. Because basically, what was expected of me, to put it very simply, was to be not sensitive, to not be who I am, to be a mask, to be to pretend to be someone. Pretending to being somebody else, not being myself, and that was really confusing. But yeah, the reality is that when I was dating non-highly sensitive women, this behavior was often rewarded. You know, a date would go successful. You know, there would be more dates, but yeah, it never felt right. So I really felt that the whole dating scene is not per se patriarchal, but it's more the structure, the expectations that society has, both men and women, how to behave in those circumstances that, yeah, completely did not resonate with me at all. And as soon as I started saying, okay, I don't want to do this. This is not me. That is when I found my partners, and I say partners. That's when I found the women that I ended up being in a good relationship with.
So Bill, I see you nodding.
Oh yeah, that sounds very familiar. Well, I grew up in the southern U.S., which is one of the more conservative, traditional areas of the United States. And, you know, there were certain rules that men had to be and women had to be and that kind of thing. And I think it really did lend itself to that kind of patriarchal culture the question was about. And Martijn, I can really relate to what you're saying, because when I started dating in high school and in college in the 70s, there was a shift in the way women were looking at themselves and how they looked at men and that kind of stuff. And so being a sensitive man, I kind of took the sensitive guy approach, thinking that this would be something that women would embrace. And very often they didn't. They immediately would put me in the friend bucket because I was a better friend than I was a romantic partner. Simply because
I know that bucket, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Simply because, you know, they could talk to me more, they could relate to me. But I think I went against the stereotype of what they were taught to look for in a man. And so it was kind of tough. And like I said, Martijn, I kind of relate to what you went through, what you said, going through that, because very often it didn't go anywhere, not because there wasn't chemistry or anything. It was just because the expectations were different about what a man's supposed to be. So in this way, I think it kind of was, it didn't benefit me by any means. I mean, I got to meet a lot of women that way, but it wasn't very satisfying to be able to try to start on a course of hoping you'd be in a romantic relationship, and it didn't wind up that way because you're a sensitive, thoughtful, caring, nurturing kind of guy, and that's not what they were looking for. Or at least on paper, that wasn't what they were looking for.
Thank you for sharing. So ladies, we are together today for all of you, because these men want to support you in sharing what they appreciate about highly sensitive women. And so here's William Allen, also Bill Allen, right?
Right, that's correct.
Yeah, author, and a whole lot more with the book coming up. We will share a bit about it later. Also Martijn Westdijk from Going Travels from Portugal. Brendan Bennett, coaching a lot from the US and meditation, right? Manas, illustrator, project leader from India. And we have Fred Eriksson from Sweden, also very, very involved with a Swedish organization. When you think of a highly sensitive woman, what comes to mind?
Almost immediately for me is my mother. And she's still around. She's 92, and she's, you know, obviously inspiration to me for a lot of ways. But she's definitely highly sensitive. And I was very fortunate to be raised by a highly sensitive woman, as a highly sensitive young man and a boy, to have someone who, although the terminology and everything, this is back in the 50s and 60s, that wasn't quite there yet to understand. And she was well read on a lot of stuff about child rearing. It just wasn't something that was kind of laid out, but she sort of intuitively got through it and knew what to do. And I think I'm very appreciative of the fact that I had her in my life.
Yeah, and didn't she just got married?
She did, yes. She came to Florida and she met a guy the same age, and both of them are 91.
Yeah.
And they got married about a year and a half ago or so, and very happy. And that just goes to show you, love springs eternal, right?
Yeah, it's wonderful. And you had the opportunity to give her away.
I did, yes.
The aisle. Yeah.
This is the second time. I wasn't around for the first time, but the second time I did. I was a younger man, and then now this time. So yeah, it was an honor to do it both times.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that as a son or as a daughter, it is extra special to have a highly sensitive mother who intuitively already knows what you need even before you know it yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm still a bit in my process of discovering who I am as a sensitive man, and sometimes looking back on everything that has happened in my life and trying to make sense of it, and looking at it now, knowing who I am. Some things, well, you can see things a bit differently, like, yeah, that makes sense. That is why something happened. That is why I felt uncomfortable there, or why I was so happy in that place. And related to what Bill was saying, if I think about the people in my life that I felt really comfortable with, either friends, people in school, or later in life, also in relationships, I was like, yeah, it kind of makes sense, because almost all of them is like, check, yep, yes, highly sensitive woman, must be, definitely. I mean, I can't know for sure, but now that I basically can see through the facade, basically, and see behind, but it's, yeah, now I understand. This is why I liked you, and this is why I felt comfortable with you. And yeah, almost all of them, I would say, yeah, they must have been highly sensitive as well. And that is why I felt comfortable. That is why I felt that I could be myself with that person, man or woman. But yeah, mostly women.
What was the extra special thing that they have?
Can be it can be many things, but sometimes it is so comfortable to be with somebody that you need only to look at each other and know what the other one is thinking. You know, it can happen in a relationship when you're really close to someone, but it can also be in a friendship. And that is one thing that you don't need to completely explain yourself, but just, you can just be who you are. Because where many people would see me as a bit of the odd one out, the weird one, the black sheep, they often felt the same. So, hey, then we're two black sheep together. Let's make our own herd.
Yeah. So, place I come from, or people around me in the journeys, in the recent interactions with people, I met few wonderful women. Wonderful as in everybody is wonderful, but these women could cross the line and to also be able to express themselves as a sensitive person, because the typical social construct doesn't allow people to express their sensitivities, especially in the urban context, in the Indian context, and very conservative mindset, very patriarchal anyway. So I was fortunate to meet few women, men also, but we're talking of the women here, who could cross that line also and had the courage or the confidence to express themselves as sensitive women and sensitive person. And that's a wonderful interaction. That's where I found myself to be very comfortable in that company on that particular, that a lot of intense, intentional communication happened, a lot of exchanges happened, activities also happened, like doing things together and creating something together. And I found that that's wonderful. That's very, in fact, in my context, it takes a lot of courage in my social context to express. I assume it's everywhere like that. That's my assumption, but at least I can talk of my context. That people are very, people I know, largely afraid of even facing their own sensitivities, or to express themselves, or to even explore that space. But yes, coming back to the women I'm talking of, it was wonderful, and to see that if we can support each other uh, in uh, in expression and in being who we are, it becomes a very wonderful interaction. And kind of it's very constructive also, and it's just, even if there's nothing happening, it's the being together is a great experience. And I see that one of these women is my daughter.
Yeah.
You know, and to know that you are sensitive and to be confident about that, not feel that as a lack of strength, but actually see that as a strength. So that's wonderful. When I observe her and I interact with her, so we go beyond just a typical father-daughter relationship, and we can kind of work together, and we can talk on different things, and it's wonderful to interact with a sensitive woman. Yeah.
Yeah. So you even became her illustrator, right?
Yeah, in this particular project, I became the illustrator for her. Yeah, in this book project.
Yeah.
Which we did together. She's been writing. Her poetry is a lot inward than outward. So she's able to express her sensitivity in words at a very young age, and to give them word to articulate them. I think it was really wonderful to see her expression coming out in the book, and she allowing me to kind of expand the poetry rather than trying to just illustrate what's written there. That was wonderful for me. Like, so that allowed me to also expand my my work. So it becomes like, it's not just poetry which is illustrated, but it's illustrations and poetry uh, kind of work, helping each other also and existing in their own space. So that is a good collaboration between two sensitive people, I would say. How they support each other, and that's an example which I've just gone through.
Yeah, complementing each other, right?
Complementing each other, yeah.
Yeah. Can you just show us the book?
So, yeah, right there. Let me see.
Fine Tangled Strands.
Yeah, that's her name. Utsa Seth is her name, and Fine Tangled Strands. That's the illustration which I have done for her on the cover, and also in the inside. Also, I'll say, for example, things like this. This is a a verse about a tree.
Wonderful. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, there are 26 of them and 26 illustrations there. But it was wonderful. Now the book was incidental, but this experience was great. And that gives me a lot of confidence that two sensitive people actually make a wonderful team, a relationship. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. And we'll let the people know more about it in a few weeks.
Sure.
Yes. Okay. What's the difference between dating a highly sensitive woman or a non-highly sensitive woman? Who has experience with that?
Oddly enough, you would think, and I agree with Manas there about the synergy that goes on between highly sensitive people, whether they're dating or not, male or female. I haven't really dated that many highly sensitive women. It seems to be the thing that I guess I'm attracted to women that aren't, just to get some different flavor on life. But I do have a lot of female friends who are highly sensitive, and many of them have become kind of what I call my wise woman counsel. If I need to talk about something, now I spend a lot more time talking, of course, with my girlfriend, but I mean, in the past, when there were periods where I wasn't seeing anybody, I would rely on them very heavily. I got a lot of wisdom and insight from them, and it's always been great to have that open communication that goes along with it. And had I dated more highly sensitive women, I probably would have shared that same experience in the dating relationship as well. Because they're the same insights, the same emotional connection and all that kind of stuff that you would get from any highly sensitive person you would get, I would, in a relationship as a man with a woman. Yeah.
And what do you think that highly sensitive women need to learn?
And I guess the first thing that came up for me is just the aspect around one, just embracing, and I know we've talked about that, but just being able to embrace the sensitivity from a place of strength and from this intuitive, maybe insight, or this level of depth and self-awareness that can really, help other people, not only help themselves, but be able to bring that subtlety and that sense of empathy and compassion to allow other people to feel and to feel like they themselves can be heard. So I think with women who really embody those characteristics, and whether they're on the path of already fully recognizing that is a part of themselves, or they are already embracing it, just knowing that, on this planet, that sensitivity trait is definitely much needed. And the more that is cultivated and harnessed and able to be shared, you know, to be gracefully shared to others, the more that I think that the natural essence of it will continue to come out and continue to expand, and the relationships in which are drawn in, there'll be a certain level of being able to really identify, you know, what relationships or what people or what opportunities, you know, whether that's professional or however that may look, just those different aspects that really are in alignment with what I like to say the nervous system, and those that frankly aren't. And the more you continue to say yes to those things that maybe are in alignment with the nervous system, um, the more that you're heard, and the more that you are able to feel safe and comfortable putting out those gifts and those strengths around sensitivity.
Yeah, beautifully put. Yes. So, gentlemen, tell me, what does it do? How does it work internally for a man when a highly sensitive woman does not express her emotions? What does it do to you? What thoughts go through your mind? How does your body react?
Well, you are asking highly sensitive men now.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I'm biased.
and I'm sure that must be a major difference, because a girlfriend or a friend doesn't need to literally express everything. I will know anyway. I will feel it. I will see it. I hear between the words. I read between the lines. But I guess that for a non-sensitive man, yeah, it must be incredibly confusing to get mixed signals, because I'm sure that yeah, I mean, I don't know how it is to not be sensitive, but I can only imagine that you would notice something is going on, but you hear only no, everything is okay. No, it's all right. For instance, so yeah, I guess that must be really confusing.
And so what does it do to you internally when you see, as a highly sensitive man, another woman not express her emotions and there's something going on? What happens in your body? What effect does it have? To stay with the confusion, that is really what I experience. I see one thing, and I feel another thing. So the first thing that is happening inside me is, hey, am I wrong, or am I getting the wrong signal here, getting a mixed signal here, or is somebody lying to me? Because, well, highly sensitive people are of course natural born lie detectors. So, and yeah, that is often where you notice all the non-verbal communication, which is very clear what somebody is trying to say or where somebody's going, and then the words come out, and it's like, hey, but these two don't match. So to answer your question directly, yeah, that creates confusion inside of me, and I start to doubt myself whether am I wrong here or not. The more that I know the more that I learn to trust my own feelings, the more that I often go with my own with the non-verbal communication and not with what is literally being said, and that's okay. Yeah. So how does it feel physically? What happens in your body? Is there tightness or something else?
First thing that I tend to notice is I'll feel like a heaviness in my chest. And one of my first reactions is kind of tuning in to myself and asking, is this coming from me? You know, is this my own aspect that maybe something is unexpressed inside of me, or is there something that's in the field that maybe I'm picking up, you know, from my beloved, from my partner? And I think kind of just going back on your question, one of the things that I know has been helpful for me is this being able to create a very safe and non-judgmental space for each person to express, you know, whatever it is, and then have that being reflected back. And I mentioned that because the trust piece is just so important. You know, if you're a highly sensitive person, the likelihood of maybe opening up to someone whom you don't feel a certain level of safety or trust with is going to be very, very slim. So it kind of, you know, noticing, at least on my end, noticing that feeling, maybe it's that heaviness, and kind of checking in from a place of, is this my own stuff, or is this something that's, you know, between myself and my partner? And if that's the case, being like proactive from a place of just allowing the other person to speak and really to be heard, because the communication piece is just so you know, and we've kind of joked around about this, just from a place of being able to, and I know, you know, Martijn mentioned this, and, you know, kind of the whole natural quote unquote lie detectors. So if you're feeling something and you kind of sense that you're seeing that something's going on with your, you know, your beloved or your friend who may be a woman, being able to really like, let's create the space to listen and to share, because that can allow just there being more opportunities for that feeling of being off to be expressed, and then hopefully be released, and done so, you know, in a gentle and mindful way.
What I think to what Martijn was saying, and with Brandon too, is that the idea that whether you're HSP or not, you know, you bring a lot to a relationship that could be your experiences that have nothing to do with your sensitivity. Something that might keep you from showing emotions if you're a female is a protective thing. It may be a defense mechanism or whatever. But the idea is that, as Martijn was saying, is that we kind of intuitively sense these things with the variety of data that we pull in as highly sensitive people, and we can come up with these intuitions about what a person may be feeling, right? And you think, well, you know, I've got this. I think this person might have some feelings for me, and they're not expressing that. So to get to your visceral point about it, where do you feel it in the body? It's right in the solar plexus. It's in the area up front. You can feel this tightness, or you can feel it from your stomach, or you can feel up into your heart area, where you're actually feeling a kind of disappointment, or maybe questioning your intuition about whether or not that other person is either being honest with you or is hiding something for some other reason. So sometimes that means digging a little deeper, trying to find out. And as Brandon has brilliantly put out, you've got to create that space where people feel safe. You know, especially when you're my age, and if you're out there, if you're out in a dating world, which I'm not right now, but if you were, you've got people that have years and years, decades, in fact, of what we call baggage, but it's just their life that they carry with them. And that, regardless of whether you're sensitive or not, even though sensitivity, we view life through that prism, it isn't the sum total of who we are. And so that's the kind of thing that we will run up against, even if it's not a sensitive woman, or it is a sensitive woman, is that trying to filter through and understand, you know, where they're coming from. What are the things that they put up to protect themselves? And I think, as Brandon alluded to, if we as intuitive sensing men can provide the space for a woman to be comfortable and to feel that she can drop some of those defenses, be more transparent, then we should all do that. The rewards are, you find out really where they're coming from. You find out who they are. And very often it could be very well be a productive relationship and a good one. So yeah, all these things, as like I said, we all talk in different terminology, but the matter is all the same. We get this thing from an intuitive level because of our sensitivity.
And it can be conflicts, and it doesn't have to do with yourself. It can be some other man that she is projecting on you.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So how do you notice that?
Well, I have to wait and wait for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that's a really good one.
The conditioning of society, conditioning from previous relationships, like, hey, this is expected. This is expected of a man. This is expected of a woman. This is how you as a woman should be in a relationship, even if you don't feel comfortable with it. And mirroring each other's, that is what you then also expect from a man, how a man should be in a relationship. But yeah, that does not necessarily mean that is who you are. If previous relationships have been with non-sensitive men, yeah, you will learn a very different response coming from the man you have been with until you are in a relationship with, okay, relationship can be friendship, of course, as well. That when you're in a relationship with a sensitive man, which will be completely different.
Yeah, yeah. So what would you like to say to the women who feel insecure in a relationship to show their emotions because they feel they are seen like a bomb with emotions instead of a human being who wants to express something?
Can I ask you a question real quick? Is that a common theme with sensitive women? Is that something that you hear a lot about from sensitive women, that they have difficulty sharing who they really are?
I was just going to ask the same thing. I was at the same thing.
That's beautiful. Yes. Well, it is in a way that nowadays when you show your sensitivity, of course, it is beautiful, but it's also expected of you to act in a society where sensitivity is not that appreciated. Of course, for women, it can be different than for men. So it's like you're on a scale, and sometimes you have the feeling that you have to hold yourself here, but your emotions go up and down. And when you do express them, they feel that they are like a drama queen, or where they hear, oh, there's, well, that's her. She always says that, or she's always crying, or she, you know.
Well, here's what I would say, because I really don't think it's too much different than what women see men who are highly sensitive. They see us too, not as drama queens, maybe drama kings, just simply because we show emotion more often. Is the idea that, you know, you're not every person out there. You're different, right? And that you need to be more selective in who you choose to be open with and who you choose to be with. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's very good, especially highly sensitive people have to be selective about a lot of things because of the way we're constructed, the environment we work in, the, you know, the kinds of people we associate with and so forth. It is difficult because you don't always know going out of the gate who is somebody you can trust or not, but at some point you do have to kind of step out and be brave and try it, put your foot in the water. And if you have rejection, then you have to deal with that. But I say this, especially when I'm writing about this to other men, is that you be selective about who you choose to share your heart with. It's not only for your protection, but it's just the satisfaction of life kind of thing, you know. Not everybody's going to appreciate you for who you are, and that's a reality. It's unfortunate. I wish we could make it more unicorns and rainbows, but it's not. It's a reality. But that doesn't mean you have to live a restricted life, and that doesn't mean you have to be a loner or a hermit or someone who lives in a cave. I do think that more and more as this trait gets becoming more well-known and accepted, that you're going to see more ways of meeting people that are like you. Maybe more dating sites if you're dating and you're using online dating or something, or groups or activities you can do that you're going to meet more people. And it doesn't necessarily have to be another HSP, although that might help. The reality is you still have to be selective. It's a process that you know, take care of your tender heart is what I would say, you know, and be very protective of it, but don't go live in a cave either. It's a kind of a fine line of walking back and forth. And that applies to men as well. I don't know how many times I've heard that as a man, you know, you're too sensitive, or you're too emotional, or you're too moody, or you're too whatever. And it's I'm too me. That's who I am. That's who all of us HSPs are. So you have to find people who can appreciate that and value you for who you are. We all need that. And that's where I think I would say to any highly sensitive woman that was a little bit tentative about going out there, be selective. You deserve it.
That is awesome advice, Bill. That's and it indeed goes basically for men as well, and it goes for many in many areas. It's about your energy. You said, you know, take care of your heart. Take care of your energy as well, because if you don't, it will drain. It will drain you, and there is nothing. It's better to have a quality relationship with 1, 2, 3 friends than to have many friends and not be able to be yourself. So yeah, it is a great advice. When be yourself. I remember a meme that I posted a long time ago. It's like, let your weird light shine, so the other weirdos will find you.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what it is. As if you can confidently be yourself, man or woman, doesn't matter. But if you can confidently be yourself, and that's in this case, you know, be your sensitive self, then the right people will find you, and the right people will come to your perhaps small circle. That is true, because let's face it, 1 in 5 or 6 people is highly sensitive. Many people will go through their entire life without ever realizing that or suppressing that. So let's say that 1 in 10. Yeah, okay, that's not much, but at least there's still 1 in 10. So there are many people out there. Yeah, be yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shine.
I was gonna say something just around both what Martijn and Bill were saying around not only being yourself, but also creating what comes to me is creating a sense of boundaries around how it is that you share and how you communicate, you know, as you empower yourself. So being able to have conversations from a place of, this is who I am, and this is what I need. These are my needs and these are my wants, and this is kind of me understanding myself and how I operate, you know, to the best of my ability, as I'm still evolving and as I'm still changing, and as things, you know, may naturally manifest or shift from time to time, but at least like in this moment, this is who I am, and these are my needs. These are my expressed needs. These are my expressed wants. And if that is something that we can work on, you know, meeting, great. You know, let's continue to cultivate it. And if it's not something that is respected or is warranted, then, you know, that's okay as well. But that's not going to be a relationship that, you know, it's going to have the longevity of being able to continue.
One is at an advantage when we say be yourself, a sensitive person is aware of what that self is. That's the strength of a sensitive person. So if somebody advises me my insensitive side, be yourself, then I don't even know who I am. So how can I be myself? And to be aware of my self and then be comfortable, be confident of my being, and to carry it in the set of people I'm interacting with, and to then be able to choose my partner or my conversations or the person I want to interact with. That's the strength which a sensitive person, a sensitive woman, or a sensitive man can actually exercise. Uh, it's a natural thing. It's not like a super strength or something, but it's something which uh, higher sensitivity allows one to explore within. And the idea is to be comfortable with this uh, identifying self or knowing oneself. And then it becomes very natural that when two such people come together or a group of such people come together, so they are more grounded or they are more connected with themselves because their awareness levels are also higher. The level of pretense is less. The confusion is less in that space. More creativity, more innovation happens. More peace is there. More grounding is there in that. So it's obviously it's like the Will also said that it's the privilege, or you can have the right to choose. It's I don't have to be there where I don't want to be, and that is coming from the position of awareness. It's coming from the more consciousness about self and also about the other person. Yeah, that's respecting. So yeah, that's to be comfortable in my own skin and about my own identity. That's a sensitive person has an advantage of. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Awareness.
Awareness.
These have been really good interviews. I mean, you nailed it.
Thank you.
Getting all the right people here.
Yes, they're wonderful. Yes. Yeah, after when I finished the conversations, and I was thinking, what is different in these conversations from the men's summit at the time? And I think the overall theme is that it's maybe more spiritual. And I'm not saying that the men's summit was not spiritual. The men were also spiritual. But I think when you click those two together, the men's summit, and where the men had really good focus, and the spirituality of the women's summit, and you click them together and you watch both of them, all of the videos, it's complete.
It is, yeah, perfect balance. I was going to ask you a question to ask them if you ever get a chance to have them all in one room and ask them a question. One of the things that you've talked about over and over again about the fact is that highly sensitive women, they see them differently than, I would say a woman who is less sensitive, right? They see them in a different way. And I'd be very curious as to what ways that manifests itself. Because I think for men, we not only got that, we're different in a lot of ways because of our characteristics, but we're also head-butting against a masculine definition or the way a men are supposed to be. And so that really throws us off as well. And a lot of us who grew up in a culture where, a masculine definition was out there that did not meet with who we were. There's lots of stuff you have to deal with as a result of having to kind of buck the trend. And I'm wondering if women have the same issues. And as a man, I'm just not seeing that, because I think that women would be more accepted because they have the sensitive characteristics than men are. But I could be completely wrong about this. And kind of what you're saying now kind of gives me the idea that I am wrong about this. So I'd like to hear from them where they feel like they're the odd person out as a female, compared to other females.
Many men will be surprised to hear that also women feel very different than the other ones. And that's why I said that although shyness is more accepted within a woman, and it is seen as sensitivity is seen as more graceful and more elegant, they also feel the pressure of other women that they should also toughen up more. And that's really interesting for men also. So we can discuss that on Sunday. We can ask them.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay, Fred, you did such wonderful work in the summary, in creating the summary for the videos. You have seen Candace and Jacqueline, right?
Yes, and Dipali.
And Dipali, yes.
Yes.
True.
Well, I can connect with Candace. She sort of have a following the life pattern. You get married and have a family, and not finding yourself. And that's kind of thing you can ask women about. But it's different with men, with being mature in yourself. You have to find yourself before you can find another person. So it's kind of, you find yourself in your later in life, so to speak.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And what did you get from the interview with Dipali and Jacqueline?
Yes, I have found both Jacqueline and Dipali, they speak on when they were alone and found something profound and found themselves some kind of way. With boys climbing a tree and have a tree and a tree house.
Yeah,
Now, and now Princess Martha Louise had also that kind of experience climbing trees when she was young. So it's kind of similar to men, though. Both women, we are more masculine about games, but yes, the kind of relationship when you have some sort of lonely place you can visit a tree or a shed or some kind of thing.
Yeah, but what do you desire for a highly sensitive woman? So we already shared about what do they need to learn to do more. As highly sensitive men, you already see probably quicker than other people what it is that they need. So now we have covered that. What do you desire for a highly sensitive woman, for a highly sensitive women in the world? Brendan.
I'll be brief on this because I'm still kind of wrapping my head around putting it together. But Manas, what was coming up for me was what he most recently had shared around the self-awareness level, and really being so clear and so connected to oneself, and that being like the first step as far as honoring oneself and then embracing those sensitivities, and embracing those opportunities that come with those sensitivities. Because I think now more than at any other time in our world, there's so much of a need and a necessity for the sensitivity to actually come into the forefront and to be in leadership, and the only way, and I don't want to say only, but the way that shows up and the way that is really able to be fully put forth is through the embracing of it and through creating some type of ecosystem, that starts with self-awareness, and then that maybe graduates into being really clear on one's wants and needs and desires. And then 3, being able to set boundaries so that, those desires and those needs and those wants can be met. And if something happens, we're all humans, and we fall off the path or something, kind of shifts, to just gracefully come back to the drawing board and come back to, those wants, those needs, and okay, this is who I am, and I'm clear, I'm grounded, I'm settled again. And now I can just get back up and then go right back out there again and just keep on moving forward. That would be what I sense that, highly sensitive women would need.
Beautiful wish.
Wonderful. What I would like to just kind of add on to what Brandon said, which is perfect for this, is that highly sensitive women, just like highly sensitive men, need to be authentic about who they are. Finding out who you are, it may be a process, it may be a lifelong process, but nevertheless, be who you are and trust your intuition. You've got to trust what you know. And finally, I would say that we all of us sensitive people, both male and female, have a purpose. We have a reason to be here. Dr. Aaron talks about very clearly. There's an evolutionary calling that nature has raised up, created 20% of the population to have these traits. It's not to make us miserable. It's to help us see things and nuance things that are happening in our world that we can share with others, and we can be that light. So, sometimes when I get kind of down about things, I realize that there is a purpose that I have because of this sensitivity, and that nature has baked this in. So it's perfectly normal, it's perfectly natural, and embrace it, and embrace the idea that you can be some light to somebody else, no matter how tough it gets sometimes. So.
Lead the way. Be an example indeed, and be there for others who may follow, who may be inspired. Be open for anyone following you. It's okay.
Beautiful. Okay. Fred, what do you desire for the highly sensitive women?
Well, it's a friend and a sister, or no, lifelong partner, and respecting. We both have different kind of lives, but we can connect, even though.
Yes. Exactly.
Would it be all right if I said one more thing?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, just surround yourself with other highly sensitive women who are on the path of empowerment, the path of kind of moving forward. Because energetically, there's something that is so powerful when you have a group of like-minded people who, are open and who are very much saying, like, I'm here, this is who I am, and I'm open to doing the work, and I'm open to, continuing to progress forward. And when you have other, people, and I'm going to say a sisterhood on my end, it would be a, kind of a brotherhood of other men. It is so profoundly transformational, just because if you are kind of, people can see you, and people can be with you, and people understand maybe some of the behavior patterns or the aspects where we all, at certain points, we may have these wounds or these sensitivities that, at times we may want to retreat or go back to a smaller or limited version of ourselves. But when we have other people that are there, to kind of pull up or to hold the water up, I believe that could be, especially, for sensitive women, can be just such a powerful dynamic, a powerful aspect to consider being around.
Yeah, great. Thank you for the addition. Manas, what do you wish for your highly sensitive daughter?
A lot has got said and wished by Will, Martin, Brandon, Fred. So I would wish kindness. Be kind to be able to take a pause, to enjoy the sensitivity for self, to be kind to yourself and to others, and being empathetic towards the sensitivity of self and the others, and to be able to expand, because it's a never-ending process anyway. There's no like outer side. It's like people are on the faster track of there's so much discoveries to be done. There's so much new things to be learned. So enjoy the process. Be open to such new gifts coming from the world to you, from the within. They're going out, and from the outside, a sensitive person can receive more and can also share more. And do it with kindness, do it with love. That's something which, and enjoy the process. You can love more, so you can love more. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So what I wish most for highly sensitive women is that they get their life's work out into the world. I do think for women that's even more difficult. Because they're usually more, it's not attached, but it's like they have several umbilical cords around them and there are more that needs to be cut before they are going to do something that is so beneficial for their soul. And I really wish for them that more women, more highly sensitive women, will really know their why and act accordingly and really live their purpose, and then really accept that they are their legacy. So in that way, I see that men are more focused when it's about creating your life's work. Not always, but in general they are. And I think that women withhold themselves too often for several reasons. And I see Manas nodding. Yes.
There's a lot of conditioned disadvantage which I can observe, at least around me, which the women have to face, sensitive or not sensitive. So they have to cover more ground every day. And a being sensitive person in this context can be more troubling, because a sensitive person can see that disadvantage and they question that disadvantage, and there is an urge to cross that. So that's why to be able to do it with kindness and to find support and to create support system around oneself, that's very important. And that's how that especially the sensitive people can come together to support each other and support the women in a way, in a non-invasive way, like to facilitate kindly, because that is the reality. At least in my context, that's a big reality, that women start at a disadvantageous position, whether it's education, whether it's jobs, or whether it's career, or even relationships, or so that's something which exists. So that I accept, and the only way to do it is with a lot of kindness and a lot of love, and self towards self. Yeah.
In a gentle way, right?
In a gentle way, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because to fight the system, it's fine. If the system has to change or that disadvantage has to be covered up, but not to burn out in the process, but to grow stronger in the process, to grow more richer, intense in the process. That's how it needs to be done.
Yeah, thank you. So for the people who are watching, at my YouTube channel, there's a separate interview with Manas about the wonderful things that he does in India for women. Yeah, it's really interesting to have an idea about his organization and all the beautiful things that he does over there. William, would you please like to share about your next book?
Yeah, just quickly, it's hopefully going to be out by the end of the year. It is a follow-on to the first book. It's more of a guidebook of things that I've learned in life, and tips and things that I think people can apply in a practical way, whether you're a highly sensitive man or not, whether you're a highly sensitive woman, doesn't matter. These things, these tools can be used to help navigate some of the challenges that we run up against as highly sensitive people. But also, as we have been saying here all along, about embracing who we are, embracing our traits, embracing what we do or will be doing in the world. And I like the way Manas puts it about kindness. We need to balance the meanness in the world right now with some kindness, because we really do need that right now. So there's, like I said, lots of things in the book about those kind of principles. And like I said, hopefully it'll be out by the end of the year. I'm hoping that it'll be an Audible, probably first of the year, next year. So stay tuned. It's called on Being a Sensitive Man.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes, really glad. Is there anyone else who wants to just throw something in that needs to come out? Something that your gut says, come on.
I want to say something. There's a couple of things that I've been writing down over the past minutes, and there's two things, two terms that really jump out to me. That's leadership. That is one thing related to authenticity as well in this case. But I was thinking about also with how society is structured, that often as when people think of leadership, people think of masculinity. You are strong if you are powerful, if you are the boss. But yeah, that is not true leadership. True leadership is indeed connected with authenticity, with kindness, with showing the way and not pushing people away. And that is definitely something where I think that highly sensitive men, and especially women, can show the world the way. And that is the other thing that I was writing down. This also has to do with a lot of the spiritual awakening that is going on in the world right now. More and more people are waking up, and that is that's not for nothing. That is happening for a reason. And I really do believe that highly sensitive men and women play an important role in that. And as far as that is concerned, my message to the highly sensitive women is that the world needs you. The world needs to see you. The world needs you to be you. And you don't have to shout or be super visible or to make a difference. Be you. That in itself is the essence, and that is the first step in change to a beautiful future.
Brendan, go ahead.
I want to share, this is based off of what you said a few moments ago, to really get your life's work out into the world, you know, and being able to identify that why and live the purpose. And I know maybe sometimes when you think about mission or purpose, depending on in the patriarchal system, you can think of that as, you know, about men, but it's so important for women as well too, to feel fulfilled and to feel purposeful and to feel like their lives have a sense of meaning, and that being a beautiful anchor to, you know, continue to navigate through some of these, you know, sometimes turbulent or uncomfortable terrains. And lastly, being able to have some type of support system, you know, if it's possible, to have other people who are lifting you up, who are cheerleaders, who believe in you, who may be able to see the greatness in you at times when you may feel a bit off balance or off center as well. So that would be live that purpose and just continue to tune into the heart and yeah, follow your dreams and put that work out into the world.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you for your support for highly sensitive women. I really appreciate it. In such short notice, you all said, I'll be there. I like that. And yes, we will ask a lot of questions this Sunday to our highly sensitive women. Thank you.
Thank you for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.